Speaking during a dinner with Republican senators at the White House, Trump expressed confidence that the remaining hostages would soon be freed, adding that efforts to complete the process would be expedited. The ceasefire proposal under the current negotiations involves the return of 10 hostages and the remains of 18 others. In exchange, Israel would release an unspecified number of Palestinians detained in Israeli prisons. Trump praised his Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, for his pivotal role in facilitating these discussions. Here is what the US President Donald Trump had to say.
Gaza, we got most of the hostages back. We're going to have another 10 coming very shortly, and we hope to have that finished pretty quickly. And Steve Witkoff has been fantastic. He's done a great job in that. He's a very good man. Good deal maker. I said, I need a good deal maker with a good personality, and there aren't too many of them, but Steve is, and he's done a great job.
In addition to the hostage release, Axios reported that Mossad director David Barnier visited Washington earlier this week, hoping to gain US support for Israel's efforts to relocate Palestinian refugees from Gaza. Barnier discussed potential resettlement options, including Ethiopia, Indonesia and Libya, with US officials. Trump had also previously signaled a 60-day ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, claiming on July the 1st that Israel had agreed to the necessary conditions for the ceasefire. We're once again joined by Shruti Dasgupta to discuss this in further detail. Shruti, we've got some statements there from Donald Trump, but obviously, as we know, we have to take them with a pinch of salt. We have also had some reports today from a Hamas official to say that this truce, there's not much optimism here in the talks, and that they are going to demand a full peace deal if demands collapse. The key issues here is this demand of a full and unconditional peace deal. Israel want the right to resume war if they choose to. What are your thoughts on the president's statements? And obviously, if you can go into some of the issues that the negotiators will be facing at this current point in these talks.
Thomas, as we've discussed earlier as well, predicting what Donald Trump is saying and what's actually happening on ground is a very, very difficult position to put any analyst in. What Donald Trump says is probably what he wants to achieve or what he wants the world to believe. So he wants to say that the peace deal is very close, but the hard line of Israel in this is that hostages in and Hamas out. These are the four words that can kind of encapsulate the entire agenda of Israel during the entire peace talk that is happening in Qatar. So this is what they want, and Hamas has of course placed its own demands where they want complete demilitarization of zones that were occupied in various operational chariots, was it called, that
yes,
they
Gideon
had Gideon chariots. So during that they've occupied large parts of Gaza, and they want those territories to be demilitarized of IDF. They do not want Israel interference in Gaza. And even though they want to hand over the hostages, they want to do it by small sections, so they continue to hold political currency, which is not acceptable to the Israeli politicians, whether they are in power or in opposition. They want complete transfer of hostages, and Hamas doesn't want it to go through. Hamas wants it bit by bit. So what Trump's statement now says that probably a first bit might be likely, but not very hopefully so, because Hamas on its own wants that Israel will move out of Gaza completely, which is not happening. What the US has accomplished is that Israel had submitted maps where they had something called the Murad corridor, which is in the southern parts of the Gaza cities, and Rafah and Khan Younis would be like disconnected from the other parts, from the northern parts. So that Murad corridor part is no longer demand that IDF is placing in front of Hamas, and that has something which has Witkoff's pressure behind it, and that is an achievement which Donald Trump would probably be referring to in his statements. Beyond that, the humanitarian city is in near Rafah is also something that they have achieved, that they have said that, okay, IDF will not have as much, not complete denial of presence of IDF, but maybe not as much as they had initially planned. So these are two things that they have kind of achieved, and through the whatever dialogues that US is kind of facilitating over there. So this is what Witkoff has managed for US. Hamas is not happy because they are not able to gain complete control. They are not able to gain the control narrative of Gaza or Palestinians per se. And neither is Israel happy. So if both the sides that actually have to ink the deal are not happy, then most likely this is not going to go through. And we will find, and Israel has stated very categorically that it will continue its aggressive military offenses till the time the deal is reached. So the ceasefire seems like a lost cause.
Yes, Shruti Dasgupta, thank you very much for joining us on the programme.